Oh boy, are you just counting down the days until the next Doctor Who adventure? Yeah, me neither. But, I don't know, they're kind of teasing here that they might address regeneration there so that they might add some more detail to the Timeless Child and somehow fit that square peg into the round hole. Yeah, I rather doubt it. It's probably just a tease and it won't address it at all, but they should, because Timeless Child really devastated Doctor Who, which was pretty beaten down anyway, but this pretty much nailed the coffin in a lot of ways. And one of those ways is when you look back at the previous shows is, boy, it really doesn't fit with things that were established in it. And I'm talking about the new Who, not just going back to the classic episodes. And, doing his due diligence, Thomas Bacon of Screen Rant just loves to shill for this disaster. And try as he might, I don't think he really succeeds. But he's got this article here, Doctor Who Theory, River Song's Regenerations Explain the Timeless Child. No, they don't. But he's just going to tell you it does, and that's it. So, all right, so he goes, River's song could be the key to Doctor Who's Timeless Child retcon. Not a chance. But anyway, Doctor Who is the longest running TV series, blah, 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 blah. So, Chibnall brings in Timeless Child idea that Doctor Who is basically God from another universe and the genetic template for Time Lord's regeneration, even though they'd already established that it was dealing with time travel. And the exposure to the time vortex leads to regeneration. Hence, River Song, because River Song was the daughter of Amy and Rory, and she was conceived within the TARDIS. And so, due to that exposure, she developed the ability to regenerate. Now, she later sacrificed her ability to regenerate to save the Doctor, Matt Smith, who at the time no one knew he was the last of the 12 regeneration line. So I guess that sort of is explained by River Song, because he'd been poisoned and he was dying, and so she gives him the regenerations and he survives as a result of that, without changing into a new version. And later on, she suffers a somewhat minor injury, but it's to her hand, and so he uses regeneration energy to heal her hand, and she scolds him for it because she says, you're wasting that precious regeneration energy. But for the purposes of the line of doctors, he didn't have any more, and whatever that was, apparently would not have been enough to regenerate him into a new Doctor. So he was, of the mindset anyway, that that was it, at the end there, until the Time Lords gave him a boost, new cycle, which that is established it's possible thanks to the 5 Doctors, where the Master was offered this in return for helping them save the Doctor in that story. So it exists there. Of course, you leave it open as, well, how many cycles can they give you? Is it the full 12, or can they only muster up, 4 or 5 or maybe 6 at best? Maybe it's something like that. They really should nail it down. And you can come up with other means by which, for the Doctor, but not this, because obviously, you want the series to go on, so the Doctor keeps regenerating, and that's how the series can last seemingly forever, because you can always get a new actor to play the role. So Chibnall decided, and it goes into here that this was an idea he had all the way back in the 80s when he was on that program telling everybody about how bad it was under John Nathan Turner, and during the time of Colin Baker and Sylvester McCoy. So, whatever. I mean, everybody, when you're a fan, you theorize things about what could be and all that about any of these franchises. So, yeah, there's probably some truth to that. But this was a bad idea, and it just ignores tons of stuff. Now, you can point to other things of Doctor Who, as this article, it mentions how shaky canon is in Doctor Who, and that's true, it is. Especially when you have things like the Paul McGann TV movie that foolishly introduced the idea of him being half human, and then it's just sort of forgotten, and then sort of mentioned, and then with the hybrid thing, and then, oh no. Well, you don't make amends for your mistake by pointing out the other guy's mistake. You still made a mistake, and this is, and it's not like it's an accident. You deliberately went in and did this just for the superficial imagery. Mind you, these were characters that didn't have any lines or anything. They're just superficial tokens thrown in to say, well, first of all, the Doctor was originally female and of color, several color, before getting to anyone white, or I suppose, whatever. That's the main thing. That was all it was, and that's all children really cared about. As for what this affects on the overall narrative of Doctor Who, well, whatever, we'll see. He doesn't really care. So, but the problem here is, first of all, River's Song is born of two human beings, so how in the world does she get this Time Lord ability to regenerate? Well, they say, well, she was conceived in the TARDIS, and the exposure to time vortex energy, I suppose, led to this, and maybe it's something that doesn't always happen. I don't know, the time vortexes were aligned or something. But still, it stands to reason that this is actually pretty good and a much better idea, that it's an offshoot of it. Time travel is actually discovered by Omega, who ended up being stuck in the antimatter universe as a result of that, but it led to and here, I don't know, they just become Time Lords. And he suggests here that they discovered that the regeneration ability of the Doctor, or the Timeless Child, as the case would be here, had to do with connection to a time vortex. There's no display of time travel. There's display of Tecteun's ability to travel through space. There's this weird apparent portal to another universe or what have you at this world that she comes to and finds the child, who apparently has come from this place and is left alone there. The Timeless Child is a creature of the vortex. There's nothing there to indicate. This is all guesswork and him making it up. Admittedly, what a lot of fans, even myself too, wondering about, well, it could be this, it could be that, and then eventually you get a show that says, well, no, it's this, and you can either be bummed out about it or you can accept it. This one I'm never going to accept. But this idea that River's Song, which actually devastates the narrative of Timeless Child, means it cannot work. To say, no, it does, because the Timeless Child was also received its regeneration through the time vortex and had been exposed to it. There's nothing in here that says she was. Now, could they come back later? Someone says, hey, Chibnall, this guy had an idea that might... Oh, really? All right. Let's do that. Yeah, maybe. But boy, is that lazy and sloppy. The better idea of why a prolonged exposure, if you will, to the time vortex, or that sort of thing. And this, what I would assume that, well, gee, why didn't the other companions of the Doctor develop regeneration abilities? Well, I suppose you could write that out, that River's Song, it happens because she's conceived in it, but everybody else, they're not. But then how do Time Lords develop it? And the idea, I suppose, could have come to that their lifespans are so much longer, even without regeneration. So the exposure of time travel and whatnot could lead to it, and they developed it and perfected it. That Rassilon discovered its workings, as I understood it. It was originally him, and that he established, in perpetual regeneration. But everybody else, they only got the 12 cycles. So it had something connected with the time vortex and all of that. Now, the reasons how regeneration works, why doesn't it just restore them, and it's just a rejuvenation process? They're younger, but they still look the same. It repairs whatever damages they had, and they go on. But I think it stands to reason that it makes it's perfect for time travel because of the paradox that can happen when you meet yourself. They demonstrated that in old classic Who, where the Brigadier met a younger version of himself, and when they came into contact, there was this big eruption and blast and all that sort of thing, because it's not supposed to happen, and when it does, there's consequences for it. For Time Lords, though, because they change, and it's kind of like their own personality or signature, or temporal signature, if you will, is somewhat skewed. Even though they recognize each other, and so that when the Doctor meets his other selves, it's not supposed to happen, but when it does, it's not as devastating as it would be if he had met an earlier version of his, like, say, two different timeline periods of time in one of his incarnations. You know, the second Doctor meets the second Doctor, you know, that sort of thing. Then he would be in the same boat that the Brigadier was in. But when he meets John Pertwee and Hartnell and all that, it's fine because they've changed enough to where they can't. They always insinuated that if they can't keep it like that, they've really got to solve whatever the problem is and be on their way, and all of that. But the fact that Time Lords do change their physical appearance, and it alters them in such a substantial way that they're entirely different people. So that's why they can meet their other selves, and it doesn't have the devastating effects, which is not really all that devastating. I mean, the Brigadier, he was knocked out and he suffered some memory loss, but other than that, he was fine. and Time was fine. What a way to find out, though, huh? So that's why it plays more into that, and it stands to reason more that this was a discovery through time travel, which I guess they're going to write Omega out as well. I don't know. You just really can't do that. He was a pretty substantial character in the overall lore, and you just say, well, the canon doesn't matter, then there's no point in doing it at all. You can make it up as you go along. So then, yes, literally someone could come in and then just not even deal with this stupid story and just pretend it wasn't there. Which is kind of like I like Paul McGann. I really liked his Big Finish stories, and I wish we could see more of him as the Doctor. Maybe regenerates in a previous incarnation. Certainly would have been cool if they'd have given him like a miniseries on Time War, and it would have been him and all that. But all we got was Night of the Doctor, which was pretty good. But that movie, I'm not a fan of it, and especially for dumb things like the human hybrid deal. Trying to give it almost like a comic book origin story, if you will. Not a fan of it, but the response to it was not to explain it or figure out a way, which it could be interesting. A writer worth his salt could probably make a pretty interesting storyline out of that as to why the Doctor just accepted that story. But also, they just figured, well, just ignore it. It doesn't matter. And so until, the whole thing about the hybrid, which I didn't like either, even without that, is the only nod to it, really. And then that's it. So, no, River Song does not add to the timeless child. It takes away from it. And despite Thomas Bacon's wishful hopes here, no, he does not succeed in this. And that's that. It's just kind of desperate and silly. You can say something is something, but when it isn't, it isn't. So anyway, there it is. That's the screen read thing. It says, the genetic code contains the secret of assessing time-space vortex on a biological level. There's nothing there. It demonstrates the origin, apparently, of the Time Lords, but it never really explains how and why they're Time Lords. It just explains how regeneration is discovered. And then you just have to conclude through Tectewene's own cleverness and inventiveness, she not only conquered space travel, she conquered time travel as well. And Omega and Rassilon, who? Yeah, at a point I thought they were going to reveal that Tectewene was the original name of Rassilon, and that once she regenerated into a man, she took the name. But no, I guess not. I don't know. For some reason, and I mean, you can't say it about Chibnall. We he knew Doctor Who, so he has to know these characters, but he's just lazy and didn't deal with it. And again, all he wanted was, oh, wow, look, the diverse background of the Doctor. Isn't he a great champion of everybody? He's quite a certain kind of savior. Yeah. So, yeah, doesn't work. But that Festum special is coming, and maybe we'll learn more. But I rather doubt it. Every plot hole created by ridiculous times child feel. Oh, that sounds interesting. Might have to look into that. But anyway, yeah, this doesn't solve anything. So, and again, I doubt that the Christmas special would. It should, because it's the only episode you get for quite a while before they get to the next season, which I just don't know that I can stomach. I might go ahead and watch this one. It's a one and done thing, just out of the morbid curiosity. But beyond that, it's got to be new bosses in control of this before it's trustworthy to waste the time on, and don't really see that happening either. So it's all very sad still. But so anyway, that's Doctor Who as of now, until the festive special. Never mind what the holiday is. We don't need to get into that. Anyway, thanks for watching. We'll do it again soon.
Alright, thank you for watching and listening. Why not like and subscribe, and check out that link description below. That'll take you to my mini stores that have plenty of goodies for you. You know, hats, mugs, stickers, posters, all that goody stuff. Plus, you can head over to indieplanet.com and pick up a copy of my comic book Night Night. Oh, yeah. Plus, you can also catch my podcast, Mr Nailsin Show, over at RadioMisfits.com. And you can also watch my videos on my channel at BitChute. That's the Mr Nailsin channel on BitChute.com.